Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gland Bodybuilding. Motion. And today I'm going to talk to you about what is better. Super intensity and absolute obliteration of the muscle and lots of rest after, or cumulative subtle amounts of stress. Now, there's an awesome guy that asked this question in the comments. This guy's like, he's one of my favorite people of all time. Favorite commenter. And that was me. I'm the one asking this question because you know what? I go back and forth on this all the time. And my brother and I have had lengthy discussions about what we think is more effective. And I would say that each person, again, is going to have a leaning towards one option or the other. But I do think playing around with both of these ways to stimulate the body is the best way to get the most amount of muscle mass. So case in point, you guys see me do high frequency workouts where sometimes I'm doing sets, easy sets, not even to failure, but just constantly stimulating and reminding the body that it needs to grow. But then there will be the odd workout where I push to failure. Now, why do I do this? Well, I find that sometimes the subtle stress, such as doing easy sets regularly, stimulates the body to be prepared to lift, and it does stimulate me to grow to a certain point. But the body always gets used to a certain type of stress. It always gets comfortable, let's just say. It gets comfortable with a certain amount of stress. And then here and there, if you just hit it with some extra intensity, then it knows it still needs to go beyond its comfort zone. So I think the big mistake a lot of people make is that they always push the body beyond the comfort zone. And they do it so much that they overtrain or they beat their body to dust and it can't recover. The joints are always inflamed and you know, basically you're always in breakdown mode to the extreme. But I think you get the best of both worlds if you do the easier workouts, you know, even lower intensity workouts. Say you're taking some of the sets to failure, but you're not pounding the body to death with so much volume. Then I think that you can really benefit from then going intense for a few sets in a workout. And maybe you're going intense with heavy weight or really heavy weight or super high reps to a deep level of failure. And then you go back to the easier maintenance type workouts. And by combining these two techniques, I do feel that you get the best of both worlds. And in the end, you will have way more results. And like I said, this is the way I've been training lately. I find I just feel good. I go into the gym and I just move. And then you'll notice the odd body part almost screams for attention. It actually wants you to go harder or lift heavier. So for instance, today I just did 225 for squats, but really felt the groove and felt everything stretching and contracting in the way it was supposed to. So I really refined that groove. But then when I went to the dumbbell bench workout, I worked my way up to the hundreds and it was really easy just, you know, to lift them up and down. It's a moderate weight for me, but I found that it was good for me to push even deeper than just finding my groove. You know, push more reps or push deeper in the reps so that way I'm getting closer to failure. And I did that with my tricep workout and my shoulders and my back. I just did some easy sets, just going through the motions. So my main point is that you really benefit from maintaining and then push here and there. Now, there's the other extreme of training where some guys are like, hey, you know, you got to go from absolute massive amounts of volume, massive amounts of intensity, and just destroy a muscle and then not train again for 5 or 6 days. That might be your way of training. I know some guys that benefited from that and they got good results. But I found with myself, when I did that type of training, I found that I was already recovered by the time 2 or 3 days went by. And then if I waited an extra 2 or 3, by the time I came back around to training that same body part, I had actually lost strength, endurance, and my groove. I noticed that my groove was off and the balance and so forth. So I noticed that the callus principle applied to me more so than some other guys. And I've used this example a lot of times with you guys on this channel where if you're a ditch digger and you're digging every day, you notice that you start to develop calluses. But if you only dig a ditch once a week and then you leave it, what happens is your hand just gets torn to pieces. And I noticed that the muscles in my body seem to adapt in a similar way, maybe not exactly, but a similar way where when I reminded them constantly that they needed to be ready for training or ready for some sort of intensity, that they tended to respond better. I ended up putting on more strength endurance, and putting on more muscle in the long run. So the thing is that you want to experiment with frequency, but also experiment with intensity. A lot of people think it's just 100% intensity or 100% take the sets to failure all the time. And that's good. You need to have some of that in your training. I do feel that. I feel you need to have some of that in your training. But if you're doing it all the time, it might be working against you. Like maybe there's a way of just cycling your effort. And I talked about this in a couple of videos ago, but it's really hitting home for me in a deeper level constantly. So yeah, so experiment with this, experiment. And by all means, if you're getting great results from doing the high volume, lots of rest, well, then continue with that, because that's the other thing I want to tell you. If you're getting results doing what you're doing, just stick to what you're doing. You don't have to be derailed by something I say or something somebody else says. If you're getting results, stick with what you're doing until you're not, and then experiment with some of these parameters I've been talking about. Mountain. Just so you know, I've been writing the book. I'm about 63,000 words into it. I'm almost done. I think I'm only a couple days away from being done, and then I have to go through the editing phase. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Eventually I'll have that thing launched on here as an ebook, and then we'll see what you think, you know? So thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalglandbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the page supporters, and take care for now.